What's going on, guys? It's your boy Vision. Now, after 5 weeks of grinding out Grandmaster Nightfalls, myself, Alex, Milky and Prince were actually finally able to complete Conqueror for this season. Season 12, Beyond Light Conquerors. It took a long doing, took a lot of trial and error, but we finally did it. And here today, and also the next video, we're going to talk about what we did in terms of each actual Grandmaster. So in this one we're going to be covering Inverted Spire, Exodus Crash and Broodhold because we found them to be the easiest one for us. And then for the next episode we will talk about Disgraced, Scarlet Keep and the dreaded Glassware. And that one's a story to be told, but that's been saved for a later date. So we're just going to be talking about what we used, what we found better to play as and everything, how we took each room, the basics. Basically, anything that's major, has a major impact on what we did, it's going to be talked about. So it's just a quick video of just us explaining like what we did, how we did it, how we achieved it all, and basically just rewarding us with conquerors. So without further ado, let's get into it. So jumping right into it, we have Inverted Spire. Now, as soon as we knew this was here, along with Exodus Crash, which we'll be looking at a later date, we knew from the point of which it's a year one map, obviously it's going to have a lower DPS damage phase against the boss. The boss isn't going to have much health, so we knew this one really wasn't a match, but it's all about taking your time and playing at your own pace. You control the pace of the fight, and you're going to do nicely in these Grandmasters. But start off with this first room, it is very champion heavy. You have at least 2 Barrier Hobgoblins at the back, 2 Unstoppable Incendios, and 2 Barrier Colossuses. Like, that's literally your priority in this room if you want to go for Platinum and everything. What we decided on was having the one Titan running Thunder Crash, which was myself, a Remnant Super, being a Hunter, and a Golden Gun Celestial Hunter, with everybody running around with at least 1 Unstoppable, which I took the liberty of having, and the other 2 running at least Pulse Rifles or Submachine Gun of any style that is coordinating with the Barrier type. And again, we just took it fairly slowly. We started at the top of the room, made our way across, got rid of the Unstoppables up top, then got rid of the Barrier Hobgoblins, stayed up top as we're popping the ones down bottom, just so we know they're not going to be a problem. And more or less, the first room was a cakewalk. Now, as obviously everyone knows, after you've completed that first room, the rest is just you pushing forward, and it's nothing much of a type. You have at least 1 Barrier Colossus at the start, 2 Barrier Hobgoblins, 2 Unstoppable Incendios, but then 4 are fighting one another, and another Barrier Colossus at the top when you have to defeat 2 Legionaries. Again, not hard at all. It's when you get to the drill. I spent most of my time on this dead because I got bored. It's just a strike I don't like as much, and I just get bored always here, so I ended up doing stupid stuff as me being a Titan Thunder Crash and me maining a Titan all the time. That's just me getting bored and getting stupid. But I mean, when you drop down, there's no Barrier Colossus, there's 2 Unstoppable Incendios up top, nothing hard for you to handle. When you drop off here, like I said, there's the Barrier Colossus at the start, and then you also get joined by another, plus another Unstoppable Incendio. Nothing hard, as long as you're working towards the edges, keeping everything at bay, especially the War Beasts, you're not going to go wrong here. And again, for the last time, after getting off the drill, it's a cakewalk. Again, there's probably 1 Unstoppable Incendio coming in. There's no one down near where the wanted enemy normally is. And then there's a few champions on the actual drill itself. Nothing that you can actually control. Barrier Hobgoblin, stuff like that. And me being me, I actually realised I was running the wrong setup. I mean, I wasn't actually meant to be running a sniper. And I was running a sniper. So, that went out the window. But then I was actually also running a no time to explain without the buff, so I was screwed. I didn't have anything. I was just shooting barriers like it was nothing and didn't realise. But now we're actually actual boss. Unfortunately, we had one of our teammates just get stuck in a time frame where he just wasn't able to join allies or nothing, so for most of the fight it was just 2-on-1 basically. I mean, we still did the damage, as we knew the boss had less health and everything, so it wasn't a problem. The only problem with having was obviously making sure you stay alive, even on this platform. One thing I've never seen on this platform is enemies spawning. It's never happened. But then again, you just make sure you keep adding DPS. It's nothing wrong. It's going to keep you going. You get down, you get rid of the ads down here. This is where like a Remnant Super was obviously key. And me being me for the final time, in this strike and also in a Grandmaster of this, why not Thunder Crash it? Because obviously it's going to get you at least one of your first completions or many completions if you've already got it before. So now we move on to Exodus Crash. As we said at the start of the actual intro, we're looking at the 3 easier ones that we found out to be for ourselves. As long as that was Inverted Spy being the first one because we did it first time. Exodus Crash took 2 attempts. We tried 2 different strategies and the second one worked because I liked it better. But the main course of this one is that it's Overlord heavy. Like, there's barely any barriers. There's probably about 5 to 6 barriers at most. The rest are all Overlords. So Overlord is your priority, using a scout rifle or using an auto rifle. So our first strat again decided on us all running Laments with Lucent Blade because somehow we all had it and it was just like, oh, bonus, we're going to get through it widely. But I didn't like that. I really didn't. I just didn't like the idea of using a sword in a Grandmaster for myself. I mean, I'll use a sword like a Raise Lighter in the past, but Lament, no thank you. So, even though we liked, I decided I'm going to switch to Anarchy. And then it was an even bigger cakewalk. I mean, what we decided on again was running that Revenant Super, and this time using Ursa Furiosa's Code of the Commander Sentinel Shield for the Titan. For the Warlock this time we decided upon the Well of Radiance with Phoenix Protocol, so we were grinding out orbs for days. Like, if you were ever to do a strike as a Grandmaster, that's mainly like one of your best setups really, is because you're just going to keep spamming orbs and you're going to keep the Overlords pretty much trigger happy. And again, that's what you want to do. You want to control the pace of the fight, like I say all the time. It's not the point of which, like, you want to get the Overlords down quick. You don't want a load of Overlords in the room. So obviously Overlords are priority, but especially in this ghost scanning room, there could be times if you're not quick enough and you just sat there scanning, you could have about 6 to 8 Overlord captains in here, and that's going to be a problem for you. We probably had about 1 to 2 max, maybe a third one popped in, but obviously he would have been dead near enough straight away so we could focus on the other 2. And then came the final room. As everyone knows, after you've done the scanning ghost at the part, it's literally a cakewalk just to get there. There's a few parts again that's going to be a problem, a Fallen Walker and then a couple in the dark. One Overlord captain was in there and that was it. It's nothing problematic that you can affect. Now when you're in the boss room, we decided on using the left side as a strategy. The box behind me, myself, we used that a lot. It was better because then we can control where the enemies are coming from and where they're going to end up. Behind us, in front of us, we don't know. But if we used the middle, then it would have been a lot harder because we would have had enemies surrounding us on all points of the clock. And more or less, it was just us making sure we were spamming our supers, keeping everyone protected, especially the Titan using Call of the Commander, because that deflection would have helped you just put a couple Anarchy shots onto him, use your Laments when necessary. Even the barrier servitors didn't last long in here. Like, I think maybe about 30 seconds they were in here for, and we absolutely annihilated them somehow. It just happened in the process. But, I mean, you just let the tick damage do the rest. The actual Banshees will do a lot more damage, and it could be your second completion, or maybe your final one if you only need it for Grandmaster. So moving on to Broodhold, the only thing that we had problem with was unfortunately my connection to the actual game. I was getting dropped left, right and centre, getting weaseled, getting Argulars, got centipede, caterpillars, baboons, it just happened unfortunately. But this one still took us about 4 hours overall, just trial and error stuff and everything. We decided on, again, using the same strat as I witnessed in Inverted Spire. We chose the 2 Hunters, 1 Remnant, 1 Golden Gun, and the Thunder Crash Titan because I enjoy it. I really do. I was designated Ogre Busboy, so I was running the Unstoppable whilst the other 2 were running the barriers. But as you can tell, I was technically the stagger of the entire thing because I was making sure I was staggering the ogres left, right and centre because there's 2 in here along with a half barrier and plenty of arc snipers and void sniper acolytes. But using Izanagis to actually drop their health was a big thank you, Ryan, because it helped them a lot better to get them down quicker, and more or less then it was easier for a cakewalk for him to ready to just drop the shield and then I can pop another one on him for even more damage. However, this room sometimes pleaded to us being a bit of a difficult room. Although we never actually failed this room, we died quite a lot of times. As situated, the 3 brood hosts that actually hold the worms will have barriers, and there was an extra one with the last one in the cubby hole down on the far right, but it was also unstoppable ogre in here. So the plan was literally to get rid of the 2 have wizards that were set up with the one on the left. We always went left first, and we pushed around the room that way. We would then defend ourselves in the middle so we can get rid of them, and basically have enough time then to get another one, because if you've got a load of enemies coming at you, especially Pharrell in this, you're going to get overwhelmed, especially in a Grandmaster, and you're probably going to get knocked out 3 times. So we pushed left. We always made sure we got the wizards down first, got the acolytes that were just roaming about, then the unstoppable ogre, then the brood hold, put it in, get rid of the ads in the middle, then get the second one, same again, rinse and repeat, and it always worked for us. I mean, we even had times where we just ran out. It was like, oh, we'll be back in a sec. We went somewhere, we came back, and we were still able to do it. This was the actual Nightfall Grandmaster that we actually did before the 30-minute timer got increased to 45 minutes. So we were pleased with it. Could have been quicker, it might not. It was definitely clean, but I mean, what else is there to say? This room never really posed a threat to us. We may have accidentally wiped once because I accidentally spawned in the Broodhold Shade, and when she does a void attack, then you know basically it's an insta-kill no matter what, because if you get stuck in that, you are dead more or less. And again, the bridge going over, there was 2 unstoppable ogres, but the rest were all froze, so we just sent the Revenant Super down there, and it didn't prove to be a menace. Now, the boss definitely took some time. It took a couple of trial and errors figuring out where to do it. I was mainly the guy that was calling out when to move and when to be on the ball. So we didn't lose many reses here, but we actually still did it. I mean, I think we had champions spawning in at the time, but because we were doing enough damage, they weren't actually going to damage us, so we could go straight back to damaging the boss. And more or less, it came to the end of it where I, again, decided to Thunder Crash because it's just staggering effect. I killed myself in the process, but because there was plenty of damage on there, it was happy days. So, I mean, what else is there to say at this one? I mean, that's 3 out of 6 there. These were the 3 easier ones for us. Like, why not Thunder Crash just the entire thing? Maybe not, but you might get anyway. But for the next video, we will be looking at the other 3, Scarlet Keep, Disgraced, and the Anonymous Glassware. So that's going to be fun to listen to and to actually record myself. So I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Peace out.